Hey guys, welcome back! That still feels weird to say to the camera. Like probably every other mountain biker in the world, I would really like to get better at cornering. And for that I've come to a little bit of fire road real close to my home. And I'm going to set up some cones and just do some cornering drills, like really basic stuff. I was doing the same thing yesterday and I feel like I got some really basic key things figured out, and that really helped me with my cornering. And I got so excited that I figured I'll do a video. Now this isn't a tutorial by any means. I definitely consider myself somewhat of a beginner still, and I wouldn't presume to be able to actually teach mountain biking to anyone. So don't take this as a tutorial or a how-to. This is more my personal reflection of what I'm learning and what I'm figuring out as I go and as I practice this stuff. Now, if you are someone with a lot of skill in cornering and mountain biking in general and you disagree with what I'm saying, please leave a comment down below. I'd really appreciate it because, you know, we're all learning here, so it would be nice to hear from someone who actually knows what they're talking about. So first things first, let's first set up the cones and put out the slalom track and then do some warm-up laps. I've discovered when I've tried these things in the past that I'm always a little bit tense in the beginning, and the first few runs are a bit like stiff and awkward, and then as I start warming up, then I start to loosen out and bike body separation gets better and I start to feel the flow a little bit more. So let's get that out of the way now. Okay, let's grab these. Got my cones. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set up one cone and then count 6 steps from there. 6 to put another one, and I'm going to put them a little bit like not in a straight line but like in a slalom way. So one is a little bit more to the right and the other one's more to the left, so I get like proper corners. 10 cones set up. I have a love-hate relationship with this particular road because it's really quite like loose on hard pack. So it's quite slippery. Now I'm sure everyone is familiar with the basics of cornering. So you need to lean your bike, don't brake in the corner. If you do, just a little bit of back brake, but stay off the front brake. Look where you're going. Pump into the corner for traction. But I feel like there's 3 additional things. Well, they're not new specifically, but more like refinements maybe to those points that really have helped me take the next step in my cornering. And we'll go through those in just a minute. Not quite done with my practice or my warm-up runs yet. I still feel a bit stiff, so let's do some more of those before we get into the good stuff. Also, I think I made my track just a little bit too hard. So there's a couple of corners that are way too awkward for me to ride well. So I'm making them just a little bit easier and a little bit less curvy in just a couple of places. We'll move that a little bit like that. Let's do some slow-mo corner B-rolls, because everyone loves that, don't they? I know I do. Now what's pretty cool is that the things I wanted to talk about, I just realized that I wasn't even doing them myself because I hadn't warmed up, and then I started to feel a little bit the flow of it, and I started remembering those things that I was thinking about yesterday while I was grinding away at this stuff. The first key thing, which I actually learned from a coach named Olli, Alanko, who's like the king of cornering basically, and he did a video with with a YouTube channel called Pelkkää, Alamäkeä. I'm gonna link that down below in the description down below. So thanks Janne and Olli for doing content that, you know, us newbies can learn from. So what Olli said had to do with, firstly, with body position and how you stand on the bike, and standing is the key word here. So what he said is that most of your weight should be going into your feet and into your pedals and bottom bracket area, and you should be able to weight and put pressure on both of the tires from that spot. And now what I was doing earlier was that I actually tried to like physically lean onto my handlebars to put traction onto the front wheel, but that made me have less control than I optimally would have. And yesterday I experimented with keeping very light hands and just really heavy feet, and I realized that I had suddenly way more control. Oh, that's takeaway number one. Thanks Olli and Janne. The second thing, and this applies mainly to flat corners, I think, but can be applied to berms probably as well. So when I'm cornering, I try to keep my body straight, so my weight is going directly down, and I do the corner mainly by leaning the bike. And that's the thing that all the tutorials mean when they say bike body separation. So lean the bike and let the bike do the turning, and you try to keep your weight centered, so your weight is going down into the ground and through the pedals, and then you just steer with your hips. I feel like the hip thing kind of comes automatically if you like take care of the bike body separation part first. So you lean the bike and you make sure that your weight is going down instead of like falling to either side, especially not like into the corner. And then the turn kind of starts to happen by itself, I feel. Thing, and this for me was huge, even though I know it from before, and this is nothing revolutionary. This is definitely not something that I came up with. This is something that's been told to me, and then what all the tutorials say is to look where you're going. But what I started doing, what I wasn't doing before, is I started looking even further. So even before I'm done with the first corner, even before I've gone past the first cone, I'm already looking at the next one, and even a little bit past it. And then as soon as I'm done with the first cone and before I'm at the second one, I'm already looking to the one after that. And that feels like it just makes a huge difference. It just makes everything flow and click, and all those takeaways number one and number two, those kind of just start to fall into place so much more. It feels like it all starts with where you're looking. And I mean, these things very much work in tandem and they work together, but that looking thing and looking far enough was like absolutely key. So when you look to the next corner, the bike kind of wants to go there already, and that's such an awesome feeling. I was so stoked when I figured that out, and it also made me feel a little bit dumb that I hadn't figured it out before, because I have been hearing it from basically everyone who knows how to ride a bike for all the 4 years that I've been riding myself. And now suddenly I'm like, oh, this is actually quite important. So yeah, good job Dale. So what I mean is that right about here, as I'm just approaching the first cone, I'm not even looking at that anymore. I'm already looking to the next cone that's way over there. And then as I get past the first one here, I've already like done all the mental work that I have to do to go around that, so I don't need to worry about it anymore. So here I'm already looking at the other one over there, and that's a very different way of looking where I'm going than I used to do. I used to look at the first cone until I was like right at it, and then here start to look at the next one. So now I lift my eyes from the first cone way earlier, and then I also shift them like further along the track way faster than I used to. Obviously there's more nuance to cornering, and there's a lot of things that I don't even know and I don't know how to do, and stuff with line choice, but I'm not really worried about that because I'm just like circling around cones. But those 3 things have helped my cornering immensely, and they've transformed it to something else that it was like just a couple of months ago. So yeah, I'm really happy about that. So thanks for everyone who's making tutorials and how-tos. Again, this is not one of those, this is not a tutorial, this is just what I've learned so far. But yeah, that's it for today. Till next time, keep riding, bye! Yeah, boy! Side note, isn't it absolutely awesome? Isn't it absolutely awesome that it's summer and we can ride our bikes in the midst of all this green and sunshine? That's awesome.